All right, starting with the nation. Buhari governors meeting on APC convention fails to hold. Picture story here. General forfeits 10.9 billion naira properties to government. INEC insists on BVS on Ekiti Osun elections. Aregbesol's thugs fired gunshots without provocation, says police.
Wow.
Petrol subsidies pending, put at 2.55 trillion naira. Olubadan to be craves for younger monarch in future. ICPC blocks 189 billion naira on spent funds in MDs. And Bala Usman removed as NPA MD for insubordination. Okay, which story?
Should I,
let's start with the picture story, or which one?
Okay, yes, the EFCC has yesterday obtained an order from the federal court in Abuja for the final forfeiture of assets estimated at 10.9 billion owned by a top military officer. I don't know why we don't name these people. So this top military officer was alleged and now, of course, proven that he has fraudulently acquired these properties across Kano, Kaduna, Borno, Cross River states. They comprise of land, shopping complex, gas stations, fuel stations, and everything together came to about 10.9 billion. I mean, they named every property, you know, one after the other, and that's what even took up most of the report, the number of properties that he had. They said that the order before the forfeiture had put up in the media, like anyone, if you have any reason to, you know, to come out against the forfeiture of this item, if you have any interest in it, come out and, you know,
so when we
talk to the court. Nobody came out. They said he used different proxies and fronts to run these businesses.
So when we talk about police welfare, military welfare not being done, it's because somebody has stolen
like
the money,
transferred into their pockets.
Use the money to buy properties. Yes, another story in Nation. The major headline, let me take that story. So Buhari and the governors were supposed to meet in Abuja yesterday. And all the governors, the governor of I think governor of Ekiti State, governor of Kaduna State, Imo State, Cross River State, Kogi State, and others were there. They had planned to meet with him to discuss ahead of the planned February 26th convention. Unfortunately, at the time they got to I was going to say the White House. By the time they got to Aso Rock, by the time they got to Aso Rock, they said that Aso Villa. They said the president had to go to Brussels. So unfortunately, that meeting couldn't hold. And now, that still puts the whole convention on a limbo because they're thinking there's a possibility that the convention might not hold because that meeting is necessary for them to understand where the president is leaning towards for the chairmanship of the NWC, which is likely to influence
supposed to hold on
who the candidates
of February.
Yeah.
And but he did meet with two governors. He met with Hope Uzodimma and
Imo State. Imo State.
And Imo State and one other one, Kogi.
Okay.
Bello. He met with those two.
Okay. All right. Let's move on quickly now to the Punch. Abba Kyari's brother received 279 million naira from hush puppy, and others says police report. Top military officer forfeits 10.9 billion naira property to federal government. EFCC shields identity. Oshogbo shootings. Police indict Aregbesol's men. NCDC assault cops. Student demand action. Maritime workers begin strike March 1st. Vow to ground port operations. Fuel subsidy. FG states set for showdown over planned 950 billion naira FAC deductions. An APC convention shaky. Buhari shuns governors. Jets off to Belgium. Okay, major headline, please.
Because I've not said my own on this matter. So the police investigations have led to found a 235 million naira paid into an account of a relative of former DCP Abba Kyari. And in the story, I had to read to the end to get his name. Usman Ibrahim Husseini Allah. So, and they also found in their investigation a 44 million naira also directly funneled equally by the Abba Kyari himself to this same relative, his brother, according to the report. They were also able to trace the money from Hush Puppy's assistants, one Efe Martins, who paid severally to some of their cronies. One Sikiru Adekoya, Usman Ibrahim, and then this Husseini Allah, who's Abba Kyari's brother. You know, the story came out of that it was while he was on suspension that he tried to do that drug deal that, you know, that finally locked him down. This is someone who sort of, to him, is above the law. So you're on suspension for having links with someone undergoing trial. The whole world is shouting. Some of us, we are tearing body on the matter, and you had to do another deal, you know, to convert. So we've seen Abba Kyari lead the toughest of investigations. Where is Wadumi? 3 police officers died on that mission, and you're investigating Evans. Evans has been in courts forever. His lawyers are even putting up more than a defense. They are now putting up an abuse of his fundamental right on a case that you investigated. All of those unending investigations that he led is because of things like this, because of cutting corners and doing your own deals within investigations. So you start a media trial, you start to resort to...
My own problem with this is, this investigation did not come out yesterday. They didn't find this out yesterday.
No, they didn't.
So you have waited for NDLEA to shout before you to start crying. Who doesn't know that the witch cried last night and the baby died this morning? Like it is the witch that cried last night that made the baby. I will only speak in parables.
Okay, let's take another story.
Yes. So the workers in the maritime sector are saying that they will go on strike starting 1st of March, and they're going to shut down port operations. And the reason is because they claim they're accusing the international, they call them international oil companies, of failing to allow stevedoring companies access to their platforms to commence operations. They says it is inconceivable that up till now the IOCs have bluntly refused to allow the appointed and deployed stevedoring companies to commence operations on platforms. This is a sharp contravention of the provisions of the government Maritime Notice 106 of 2014. So my question is, why do we have to wait up until strikes are threatened before we sort issues out? Everyone is shutting down, also is shutting down. You know, what has been the conversation concerning this? Why do they have this problem? And why do we have to wait until they are threatening strike before we're hearing about it in the papers? I hope that they can amicably resolve these issues, because to have the port operations shut down, we understand exactly what that will mean for businesses and just life in general for us.
All right, so Emefiele's friends came together to refute the claims that Mr. Godwin Emefiele is trying to run for presidency. You know, these rumors came out and said these are distractors. Said that he has not confirmed to anyone that he's running for president, and that he should be left to focus on his work. Specifically, say Emefiele is focused on his unfinished job and should not be distracted. One issue critics have continued to raise is the issue of rice pyramid, which was recently unveiled in Abuja, but these are just critics of Governor Emefiele, and that they should let him just do his job. Okay, let's move on quickly now to... Oh, there's another story in Punch. I thought there was another story that caught our attention. Okay, let's go on a quick...
Yes, there was the Eric Bashir story.
You have that story?
Yeah, the police have accused him of, or his men, not him, of firing indiscriminately with NSDC officials. NSCDC officials. And after his convoy left the place, where they fired shots, they found 13 bullets, rounds, and so they are complaining. Meanwhile, the officials, the NCDC officials have come out to say it's not true, that hoodlums came out and attacked his convoy, which is why they fired into the air.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, move on to other papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Moving on now to Daily Trust. Motorists groan as petrol sells 600 naira to the litre in Abuja. How Ogun couple killed woman, sold head for 70,000 naira. Buhari confirms Bello Koko as NPA MD. Man sets himself ablaze to protest seizure of vehicle by LASMA. Buhari to National Assembly, remove your 887 billion naira projects from the 2022 budget. Drug dealing. NDLEA grills Abba Kyari and others. Clerk defies retirement, perform duties at Senate plenary. Okay, which story?
Yes, I'll take the major headline. So, as we know, Nigerians are really suffering. This fuel scarcity has become, I mean, we thought it was going to be a few days, but here we are today. There are reports from all over, Nigeria and Abuja, especially. They say right now people have to buy petrol at 600 naira per litre from the black market, as against the 162, 165 at the fuel stations. But there's so many queues at the different fuel stations in Abuja, in Port Harcourt, in Lagos, in Kano. The Statistician General of the Federation, Dr. Simon Harry, has said that this was going to cause an artificial shock in our economy, that what this would lead will be increase in the price of commodities and services, transportation will go high. And true to his word, of course, with the queues, people are complaining that prices of things are going up because they have to sort of, compensate for how much they pay for transportation. Many people are stranded at bus stations, waiting to get vehicles because many of the vehicles are at the queues waiting to get petrol. For those who have to get from the black market, it would affect their prices for the transportation. Many activities in Lagos have been hampered because of these queues, because of these prices. Just different things. We know that this is going to happen, but NNPC had said when this started, when we heard about the adulterated fuel, they had said that they had about 1 billion litres of petrol in stock, and they had about 2.3 billion arriving. So there was we were assured that we were not going to be in this situation, stranded. But here we are today talking about it.
Okay, I want to take the last one story. So,
you doing with the one with the fire, the guy that says
yes, that's the one I want to take.
Okay.
So, do you have it?
No.
So, this bus driver at Sajao Estate area in Lagos was stopped by LASMA for contravening what they called traffic contraventions, and they just, he was begging. And while he was begging, one of them jumped in his bus and took it away. Out of frustration, the guy went in the back, and now that we have scarcity, he had fuel in a gallon. He poured it all over himself, brought out a lighter, and set himself ablaze. The sight of him burning provoked his colleagues to, start to attack the LASMA officials. And so, before you knew it, Agbero, street touches and touts, everybody joined in. And it was a major madness situation. Caused traffic, of course. The man has been taken to the hospital. His boss has been still apprehended. He himself does not stand a chance of making it. According to one of the eyewitnesses, his name is Kazim, he said that he doubts if he will make it. He says that these drivers, the way they treat us as if we are cat and mouse. They attack us at every opportunity. They treat us like slaves. And, I don't know what has to be done. I don't know who the new boss of LASMA is, but we need to talk. These constant attacks and, this kind of, we must find a way now to avoid it as much as possible. I don't know whatever kind of problem that man was dealing with, but the way he put himself on fire in the middle of everywhere is not something that stays for at all.
I think they need to be more proactive. See, just take pictures,
But sometimes these are also attacked. I heard a few of them have died.
They've been killed.
Yes. They've been killed. So
I'm not talking about the last one now. I'm just saying the last match. I'm not accusing the last one. I'm just saying that there should be a way that when you go and renew your license, that's where they just seize your car.
Yes.
These are your infractions. And they have it in some places. Like one of my brother's drivers took the bus and went to. When they went to another place, they saw the bus. This bus has this is your fine. So they can do that.
They already do that.
They have the technology. It's not across the entire state. They've not deployed that across the state, but I know that there are certain specific places where they have that technology. Let's take another story. There was a clerk. Let me get his name. You read that story?
I don't know.
Please go ahead.
Go on.
So the clerk's name is a retired clerk. His name is Ibrahim Dauda El Ladan. And he was supposed to retire February 9th. And they gave him a letter to that effect of retirement. And they've actually asked him to hand over to somebody else. I can't remember the name of the person. I think is the deputy clerk, Iloba Isabella Ugochi. But the man refused to leave. And why? He came back to work.
Let me take the reports here.
Yes.
So he was asked to he was found guilty of
fraud
cases of forgery and age falsification.
Okay, they doesn't have that story.
Himself and another Adebayo Anthony Adebanjo. So the National Assembly Service Commission then directed that they retire immediately. I think that's the most honorable thing. Because if they just sack them, all their entitlements taken, retire immediately means that you still get something. But not like the man no go agree. He came and he started working to perform his service. And the Senate president was not taken along in the story that he allowed him, knowing that he had been put on immediate retirement, and that they set him someone acting in his capacity, and they did not recognize that person to act.
They asked to actually write him officially that he's not allowed to resume.
He's been written to in the Sun. The report says that he was.
Now we know his name. If you just Daily Go, nobody will know what happened. Now we know what happened. Moving on quickly to Daily Sun.
He shouldn't have been allowed to work. The Senate president has been indicted here.
Yes.
Okay, fuel landing cost rises to 307 naira as Buhari seeks fresh 2.5 trillion naira subsidy. Bad fuel, Buhari never ordered Sylvia to query NDLEA head, say sources. Emefiele's friends clear air on rumored presidential ambition. $418 million Paris Club refund, court fixes March 25th for suit by 36 states. Confusion in Senate as retired clerk refuses to vacate seat. Okay, with that story. OAU murder, students blame hotel owner and demand justice. Drug saga, police grill Abba Kyari. Okay.
Story.
Yes, go ahead.
So the presidency is saying that there's a news that's making the round that the president had ordered the query to be issued to the CEO of Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, that's NDLEA, Farouk Ahmed, over the importation of adulterated fuel. The presidency is saying that nothing like that happened, and what the president is interested in is for all stakeholders to team up and resolve the issue that has brought untold hardship to Nigerians who queue hours on end to get petrol. So there is no directive from the presidency directing the Minister of State, Timi Pray Silva, to issue a query to the NMPDRA boss. Only that he's asking that all stakeholders put their heads together to sort out this issue.
I don't really see why they issued that statement, because it just makes us know that they're not going to query or investigate this matter. You are supposed to be investigating the matter so we will know how the bad for people's engines knocked now.
Yeah, several times. I mean, I read in the papers where they actually said they're going to investigate, and then even suggested that they're going to compensate. So we heard that
because people's cars are broken down because of
making people feel bad that you're not even going to investigate.
Let me take this story from OAU. So many of you know the story of this child that died in septic time. We took the story some time ago. Anyway, the National Association of University Students have blamed the negligence of the hostel owner for the fall of this Ajibola heritage, a part 2 students of the Department of Linguistics. So they had a press briefing to say that they completely blame the hostel owner. And again, this is also a reminder of what happened even with the private school, the low-income private schools talked about recently. So there's a lacuna. Government says, okay, help hostel owners, help us to accommodate our children, because we cannot obviously afford to accommodate all these children. They come in, and it seems like government just hands off. Okay, once the hostel owner takes it over, they don't do proper maintenance of these hostels. Eventually, they hand over, and these owners then completely put the lives of these children in danger. Same thing with the low-cost private school. They were trying to meet a gap. Unfortunately, government hands off, and then your children are put in this kind of situation where
you're not private property owners.
Yes, they are.
And so lack of maintenance of buildings.
Exactly, I'm saying the same thing.
But because they're adults, when they go, the government really just assume as we will rent our houses and have a relationship directly with our property owners. So this is a case of negligence, and I believe the family can sue.
Yes. So government should put a standard. This is the standard for you to be a hostel owner. These are my standards. Every room must have this. You must clean every single day. There are certain standards the government should have to regulate them, at least somewhat.
Okay. I'm not really sure government is to blame here.
Okay, moving on now.
For once, I'm with the government.
All right, let's move on to, I think we're run out of time. Let's just take one story in Vanguard. Is there a story we have not taken? Buhari appoints Bill Okoko, substantive MD NPA. Stakeholders worry over increased ritual killings in Oshun. And 2023, PDP will remain in opposition if, says Lamido.
The Kyari arrest, wasn't it in Vanguard?
Okay, so let me take
Yes. Taking Abba Kyari already.
No, how it happened.
We took the story yesterday, right there. All the
So Mohammed Bello
Marwa went to the
IGP.
To the IGP. The IGP wasn't expecting him, and they just said, I went to go and tell the IGP, who was praying to God, that Marwa is outside. Doing what? And he just entered. See you. Gaga. See video of your person.
Are you serious?
I was saying,
Are you for real? I didn't read it though.
Why can't we Jan?
So he now said, you have to hand him over.
Yeah. Yes.
And that was it.
That's how they said,
I'm done with this horror for president.
Anyway,
because I like the way he just handled, because he knows that out of respect, let me be the one to tell your guy directly.
Two agencies. If you go and let clash happen now, they will say they will not release.
Yes.
So it was the police themselves that went and arrested
all those guys.
After the
we have to
last story, yes. So Mr. Mohammed Bello Koko has been confirmed by our president as the substantive MD of Nigerian Ports Authority. We know that he has been acting as the MD for 8 years, and now he's been finally made and confirmed the MD of MPA. He's been here on our show.
He was.
All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll move on to our hot topic of the day, which is this fuel subsidy matter. No, fuel scarcity matter. Stay with us. Subsidy matter.
Yeah, all together.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.